Okay, so I was out for a couple of days, and today I want to finish reading the file, the Jane Doe, which is Chloe Black, but anyway, filing. Last time I read, I think, to item 18 or 20, which is we left off at him showing her this movie that made her feel sick to her stomach and explaining to her what this movie was called Groupie, and the girl in the movie was an actress. Manson also tried to say this to her, and it seems like she was like, oh, like a little kid, like not, didn't want to hear it. Probably she did believe him in that moment. And probably she went home thinking, well, this is a bit messed up, but this night is enough. The girl's not dead. She probably believed him in that moment. But now that everybody's out and everybody's like in this mass hysteria, now it's very convenient for Jane Doe to say, oh no, I didn't know if the girl in the movie was dead. I was sick to my stomach. Why he was showing me that? This girl in question, she is an actress and a singer, and she's in LA. She is very much with it. So I find it hard to believe that she was so sick by it. If you go see her videos, look her up, Chloe Black. She's crucified in her videos, and she's, not topless, but almost, and it's all about the boobs and the body, and there's blood. So the fact that she's asking so goody, like she never seen anything like that, with her music videos are pretty dark herself, and she looks like pretty much a stripper that happens to be a musician. She actually is good. I like her voice. When I put two and two together, and I realized that the Jane Doe was Chloe Black, and not just me, but everybody on Instagram got the memo at the same time. I was like, I am not going to look at her art anymore, but she blocked me anyway. So, and if you go look at her art, Chloe Black Music, I think that's what the website. Man, she even said that Manson was one of her biggest influence, one of her favorite albums, like 10 albums of her life. One of the 10 albums is Mechanical Animals by Marilyn Manson, and she cites how that album totally made her into an artist, and it inspired her so much musically, and the image of it too. So now, of course, it's not convenient to say that you got inspired by Manson anymore. But anyway, so I'm gonna go back to. God, my hair is a mess. It's been raining a lot, and when it rains, this is what happens. So we got to deal with it. We gotta deal with it. And I know it's kind of boring, but the way I'm doing this is I'm reading the file, and I'm going to read the files. I am not going to read what somebody else thinks about the file, or what People's Magazine thinks about the file, or what Rolling Stone magazines think crap about the file. I'm going to just read the file. I think that's a way better to do it. And even if it's full of it, I think it's better from the mouth of the wolf. So I was there. Okay, 27. All right. Okay, so item 28. One night towards the end of March, plaintiff was meant to meet up with Warner and his entourage, but due to miscommunication between them two, she did not know where to meet him. When she arrived, Warner was furious at her for being late and behaved very angrily towards her all evening. Again, you can't prove this unless there's a camera and there's somebody says, oh my god, yeah, he's being an asshole. I don't think Manson is the type of person who's gonna be mad if you're late. I think he's probably the type of person who's late a lot. So I don't know why they're making him sound like he is freaking Scarface. Like you can't even just like look at him in the eye. He's the scariest monster. Anyway, so he got mad because she was late, allegedly. When they returned to the apartment, he became more and more erratic and angry. Warner commanded plaintiff and Ashley Walters, which is the assistant, the file right before this. How convenient that they all filing, 3 months to 1 month apart, to dance and to sing karaoke. Ashley Walters told plaintiff that they had to comply with Warner's wishes, and the plaintiff needed to act happy and put a smile on her face to avoid conflict. Plaintiff felt degraded and stripped out of her free will. Okay. Somebody asks you if you want to dance or sing karaoke because they have a badass karaoke machine, which probably Mason has. They're not stripping you out of your free will. I mean, I wonder, what happened if she say no? Again, if none of these files and in the interviews with Esme Bianco, nobody says that they actually say no to the guy. Nobody. Here, Jane Doe is saying, well, Ashley told me that I have to put a smile on my face, otherwise he will get mad. Well, Ashley, then it's Ashley's fault. Then Ashley is an idiot for saying that to you, because maybe it would be okay if you say, no, I don't want a karaoke tonight. Maybe a karaoke later. So you guys strip out your free will because somebody asked you to dance or to karaoke. I mean, dancing, dancing, if it's like some type of exotic, erotic dancing, I guess I give it to you if you feel degraded by that. But karaoke, oh my God, it's like these little children. Seriously, they need to grow up. Like the worst thing that a guy said to her was like, can you just karaoke for me? It will make me happy. And wear this pink kimono. And yeah, he's a monster. I do not think that part is true. I do think that maybe she was late. And maybe he was a little bit offended by it. But I don't think that... And maybe they did karaoke and they did dance, but I don't think that he forced her to do karaoke. How can you force somebody to do karaoke? You can force somebody to do something sexually. You can tie them up and do something like that. You can force somebody to drink something. If you do it in a way, you cannot force a person to do karaoke. But anyway, she's kind of putting it on him, but she's saying that Ashley, the assistant, said to her, put a smile on your face and just do it. Well, then Ashley is being a douchebag. Then Ashley is not being a good friend of Jane Doe. Period. And if we're going to blame it on anybody, blame it on Ashley Walters for having this kind of behavior around from her boss, Manson, and not saying anything about it. And letting some other woman, Jane Doe, do whatever Manson wants and tell her, just put a smile on your face and just do it. Then who's the bad guy? Maybe Ashley is. Maybe Ashley should be more careful how she talks to people. I don't know. Is that that part in the filing is right there. So Ashley Walters filing gets tied up with this one. But the way I see it is like, if anybody's being a douche right there, it's Ashley, by saying to another woman, hey, do the smile on your face. That's not right. You're not protecting her by saying that. And again, I don't think nobody can actually force you to do karaoke. Okay. Warners went on a drug and alcohol-fueled bender for the next 3 days. Whoa! 3 days. So a rock star does drugs and alcohol for 3 days. Let's say it again. 3 days. Seriously. Okay, so I'm gonna pause to make myself some coffee. Imported. Nothing like that. First sip. Okay. So Manson goes on a 3-day binge. I mean, the guy has a song. Doesn't have a song that is called 7th Day of a 6-Day Binge or 7th Day of a 7th. 3 days is nothing. I don't know how you grew up or who you had around you, but I know people like at work that say, well, my mom was an alcoholic and she was just like drinking whiskey and taking Xanax for like days. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's normal, but just because somebody's doing something for 3 days, it don't mean that you cannot interact with them, and it doesn't mean that you actually are in danger. If they are so fucked up for 3 days of doing drugs and alcohol, you are just fine. I mean, you might be sad because you want some attention and the person's not giving it to you, and you might be pissed off, but you're not in danger. If they are so messed up for 3 days high or drunk, then they're weak and you're not, if you're not high or drunk. Now, my theory is that Jane Doe was doing the drugs with him. So it was 3 days for him, maybe it was 1 day and a half for her. I think the same reason, I have the same theory with Ashley Walters. The reason that she didn't leave the apartment is not because the car was stuck, her vehicle was stuck in the wrong parking lot. It was because I think, my theory is that she was so messed up that she couldn't walk out, and she didn't want to go to the police station high. Who does? And she was not going to go to the gas station high because it was embarrassing. So she decided to stay there. When these girls talk about Manson doing drugs and alcohol, I totally believe it. But they're not talking about what they're doing. So if Manson was in a 3-day binge of alcohol and drugs, that is not, I mean, it's really sad to say, but it's not so unheard for somebody like him, period. He writes about it, you know, and besides, unless you were there all the time, 24/7, during those 3 days, so 72 hours, how you know that he was doing drugs and alcohol for 72 hours? The only way to know is if you were next to him. And you're not going to try to convince me that this girl, model, wannabe actress, wannabe singer in LA, has a guy doing a bunch of drugs with her and she is just drinking green tea. There's no way. And drugs are illegal, but they're not illegal to do inside your house. They're not. So I think that he was doing something that was really bad for his health, but it's not illegal to do drugs in his house. And also, I don't believe for a second that she wasn't doing none of the drugs. The only way that you would know if somebody is in a binge of 3 days is if you are hanging out with them for 3 days. And I don't believe that he was being so scary and so violent when he was so messed up. There's people that, especially men, that when they get drunk, they get violent. But 3 days of alcohol and drugs, maybe the first day you're kind of like cocky and mean, it's done after that. It goes downhill. So she is making him sound like he was a ball of anger, and to me, I think he was really high for 3 days. And I think that she was high too. And that's the part that nobody wants to talk about, because these girls want to sound like all they did was probably smoke weed once at Coachella. It's not true. Everybody does drugs here, and people need to start talking more about it so it loses the stigma. Drugs are bad, but drugs are, this is a drug. It's a legal drug. Everything is a drug. Sex is a drug. Relationships are a drug. So if they were more honest on this, maybe I will believe her. If she said, well, we were doing drugs for 3 days. No, it's always him. He was doing this. And she was there, suing and making arts and craft. Sorry. I don't want to laugh at addicts, drug addicts, and alcohol users and drug users. It's a messed up disease. It's a disease. It's a sickness. So I don't want to put it down. But at the same time, I think that it's on your rights to do drugs inside your apartment, which you're paying for them. I'm sure that she didn't. And it's not actually legal. It's not illegal to do that unless you're selling. And I don't think Manson was selling drugs. So everything that he was doing, telling her, well, I want you to karaoke for me, doing drugs for 3 days with her right next to him, it's not illegal. Might not be the type of party that I would like to go to, but it's not illegal. Again, we just keep going back to the same thing that from my first video I kept saying, it's not illegal to be a little bit of a morbid or to have a little bit of a, perverse fetish, or it's not illegal. You might not like it, but it's not illegal. Anyway, okay. 7 days, 3 days. He has a song. Does he have a song that is called 7 days? six of the 7 days binge, something like that. So 3 days for Manson, I don't think it's a lot. I think it's just fine. But it's really good for her narrative right here to say that he was high and drunk for 3 days. During this time, Warner screamed repeatedly and threatened sending threats to Ashley and to Jane Doe. He threw a glass against the wall, shattering the glass. Yeah, his glass, his wall. And when plaintiff tried to clean it up, he screamed at her and forced her to stop. At one point, when plaintiff was crying, Warner ordered Miss Walters, Ashley, to take photos of plaintiff crying. Plaintiff wanted them to be deleted, but Ashley Walters refused out of a fear of Warner. Again, who is the asshole? Ashley. Because let's say the Manson said that. Let's say Manson said like, oh, look at you little bitch, you crying? Come on, take a picture of yourself crying. Let's for a moment, let's pretend. So then Ashley takes the pictures, and Ashley, as a woman, as a human, but mostly as a woman, she is on board with this. She refused to say no to Warner because she's so scared. The thing is, if you go on YouTube, there's a couple of videos from TMZ and from other paparazzi sites that they got Manson going in and out restaurants or whatever, because the guy never eats and he doesn't let the girls eat, but there's a bunch of videos from paparazzi from Manson going in and out of food places. So I don't know what he does when he goes to restaurants. He sits there and he tells all the girls don't eat. I don't know. There's plenty of videos, okay? And it's like Manson walking around with either Lindsay, which is his wife now, or Chloe, or Esme. And you know who was there? Who's the third person there? Always with a smile on her face. And it doesn't look scared or anxious at all. Ashley. Ashley was driving the car because Manson does not drive. We know he doesn't. He has plenty of cars, but he doesn't drive them. Ashley Walters drives them everywhere. Okay? She's always like, it seems like she was always there with all this allegedly abuse was happening. She was there. So as a woman, as a freaking woman, what the hell she did or she didn't do anything because she was scared. Scared of losing her meal ticket, her payroll. That's what she was scared of. She wasn't scared of getting beat up. She was scared of if she said one word to him, he was going to fire her. And probably she was lousy at her job anyway. She didn't want to lose status. A job that got her to travel the world, go on her Instagram. She's like in a different country, in a different state, like every month. It's just crazy. This job with him and after him gave her the resources to go all over the place. So if you're scared of losing that. You're not scared of the guy throwing a glass at you. I don't think so. So again, it's Ashley. Ashley's an asshole. A is for Ashley, A is for asshole. This complaint, this filing, does not make Ashley Walters look good. I know they have different lawyers, obviously, and I don't know if they sit down and talk about this part. I know they talk about the whole thing beforehand with the email from everybody, they're recruiting them, but I don't think they wrote this together, and because Ashley will never say, oh yeah, put my name there. She's looking like an idiot. She's looking like she is enabling Manson's behavior against women, and she's right there. Instead of protecting her friend or saying, well, no, let's play along, and then when he's got to sleep and just take off. No, she's there. She's there telling Jane Doe, it's okay, just play along, because otherwise he's gonna get mad. And she took pictures of Jane Doe crying. Alright, so item B as in boy, number 30. Item number 30. The rest of the first 28 items are on my last video, just so you know. You don't think I'm OCD. I do things in order. I can't switch. Okay, I'm hyper focused on this because these are like a couple things that I didn't think about it when I read it a couple weeks ago, and now I'm thinking that Ashley Walters looks like shit on this filing by this Jane Doe that I know who it is. And it's not really gonna make all the other girls look really good either if we start thinking about them as a coven and try to bring Manson down, but at the same time they were in the same house together, kind of enabling him. And it seems like Walters is really, really, really guilty from this filing of saying to Jane Doe, just do it, just put a smile on your face and do it, and make her karaoke, force her to karaoke. That's just I mean, I hear so much weird shit at work, but this is like amazing weird. I never thought somebody could make you karaoke against your will. Anyway, so I'm 30. Okay, so warning, is going to be triggering as the rest has been, but this part is, you've been warned. My disclaimer has been done before. I said it. But before we're talking about throwing glasses and just taking pictures of people. Now I'm going to read about the R word, can't even say it anymore, and repeatedly the sexual abuse, the violent sexual abuse, because it wasn't just the way they say allegedly, but it is a continuation of some, there's a pattern that they're saying that he had. I don't think he did this, but we're just gonna read. And so, warning is triggering, not necessarily to me, but it's not, because I know that he didn't do it. But if I read this and I don't know it's Manson, it's like Joe down the street, and I read it and I believe it, this will be triggering. So I can read it now because I really don't believe it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm reading a novel or something. So trigger, warning. Okay. The physical and sexual aspect of plaintiff's relationship with Warner was really gentle and romantic at first. However, that changed quickly. It doesn't say how quickly, but it says that it changed quickly. Just very elusive for lawyers to say that, to do that. Warner demanded extremely frequent sex, like all the time, unless he was busy recording or entertaining people from the band. Plaintiff was not able to sleep through the night because that was the time Warner was awake and most demanding of sex. What, through a night? Oh yeah, the night he was awake. Okay, I was like, he's awake at night and during the day? Okay, when he finally allowed plaintiff to sleep, he interrupted her sleeping every other hour to demand sex from her when she was asleep. So what I think they're trying to say is that she's trying to say is that, Manson is up all night. I had to be up all night with him hanging out, and then when I get some sleep in the morning, I can't sleep because he is asking me for sex. This can be true through a different set of eyes, and it doesn't have to be illegal. Again, if plaintiff did manage to briefly fall asleep during this time, Warner will come in the bedroom, often making screaming noises for the purpose of waking her up. Warner was constantly angry at plaintiff for being tired. We heard about Manson, and even if we heard Manson in his interviews, this is where these chicks are getting all the stuff from. He does says like, I work from 3 to 6 in the morning, the best, because everybody else is asleep and it's just me and my art. Well, I do believe that it's everybody else is asleep and it's just him awake. These women are making it sound like he's awake and he wants everybody to be awake while he's making art. And I think it's just strange. I think these girls were awake by choice and by a lot of cocaine probably, but nobody's gonna say that. And they want to be awake. And if Chloe fell asleep a couple of times and he wanted sex from her, not by force, but just says, it didn't say by force, it says that he was asking, and she gave him that, then I don't see the problem with it. You might say, well, it's not cool, I need more sleep, he doesn't let me sleep because he wants to have sex all the time. well, then you need to go to therapy. Both of you need to go to therapy, but then again, it's not illegal to do that. If plaintiff did manage to briefly sleep, okay. He was mad at her all the time for being tired. Warner often fell asleep during intercourse. Yeah, okay. Manson, alright. After taking sleeping pills. Manson doesn't take sleeping pills. He's all about staying awake. What up is sleeping? Now he got sleeping pills? Are you serious? Okay, so after taking sleeping pills, he will fall asleep on her. That's what she's saying. He will force plaintiff to have sex with him and to be on top of him during sex. She will pray. Oh my God. Pray? Like P-R-A-Y, like praying to God. Oh my God, this is stupid. This is so fucking silly. She will pray for Warner to pass out during intercourse. Wait, I thought he was already passed out from the pills. So what are you praying for? He already passed out from the pills. It says right here. Warner often will fall asleep during intercourse after taking sleeping pills. But then she will pray for Warner to pass out. Well, I thought he was passing out. You don't have to, you wasted your prayers, girl. When this happens, plaintiff will try to slip away and get some sleep. Sleep away. They're making it sound like he's just... But the moment she moves, Warner will wake up and demand to resume the sexual activity. Alright, so let's say he's taking all this Ambien. No, I know by experience what some pills do to people. So anyway, let's say he's taking all this Ambien, all the Xanax and whatever, and he's drinking some booze, and he's like, oh shoot, fall asleep. But he expects her to, if he's asleep, how did he's asking her to be on top? That's something that he wrote a note and say, hey, if I fall asleep, can you just get on top? How? He was asleep. I'm not trying to laugh at people that have been through situations like this, because this is a really annoying situation to be with a guy. That if you're exhausted, or with a girl too, why not? But men usually are more aggressive during this whole be on top business. How did he was asking her to be on top if he was sleeping because he took too many sleeping pills? I didn't even know Manson took sleeping pills. He never talked about sleeping pills before. He talked about every drug ever out there. He never said anything about taking sleeping pills. So I don't know how he asked her to get on top and have sex with him if he was asleep. But what she's trying to say is that he was in and out of sleep. And when he was awake, he was like, well, what are you doing? Just keep going. Type of situation. I don't believe that. I believe that he passed out from probably drinking or some pills. I don't think he took sleeping pills. He doesn't like sleeping. Part of that you don't understand. But I don't think that he woke up just to tell her to keep going and then he fell back to sleep. I don't buy it. And so this whole thing, mind you, this is a small house. It's an apartment about a liquor store. It's pretty much a loft with a little kitchenette. Not even a kitchenette. It's smaller than my house. It's way smaller. Where there's maps of this thing, and they're in the room and they're in the bedroom, on the bed, and I mean, if he passed out because he was too messed up drinking and passed out, and maybe wanted sex from her, all right, maybe I gave him that. It's a guy. But then I believe that once you fall asleep, the body, if you know what I'm trying to say, you catch my drift. If you're a guy, you know what I'm trying to say. It's not gonna work anymore if you're asleep. I don't want to be vulgar and say it, but it's not gonna work if you're asleep. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. One day in early June 2011, dates are important, trust me. Plaintiff visit Warner very early in the morning, per his demand. Okay, so he demand for her to come over in the morning. Whoopie-doo. Plaintiff and Warner sat on the apartment couch. Warner began insisting that plaintiff kiss him and engage sexual acts with him. This is your boyfriend, isn't it? For once, plaintiff refused. Okay, this is the first time that I read this. On all this, many women saying this is the first time that I read the word refuse. Plaintiff refused. Okay, plaintiff was crying, but Warner was relentless and aggressive. Warner ultimately forced plaintiff to perform oral sex on him. So first he said, "Kiss me," which wasn't oral sex, and then he forced her to do oral sex on him. She refused. What did she refuse? What the part? If you're gonna believe, if you're going to try to make me believe that you're refusing to something, you have to say exactly what you're refusing to do. Otherwise, it's very elusive and it's very out there. If you think about cases like, I want to say OJ because that's a bad one. Case about like Jory Arias, and it was my favorite case. I mean, I hate that bitch. She's a psychopath, but I love that case. That she killed the boyfriend in the shower and all that, and almost got away with it. If you think about cases like that, Casey Anthony, the woman that killed her daughter and got away with it, she's free. You think about cases like that, they usually say, using, this is televised cases that you can see them on TV, because now we have cameras in the courtroom, which is great for people like me that I love watching that shit. If you're saying that you refuse to something, you have to say exactly what you refuse to do and when. There has to be some type of mark in time here. It says that she went in the morning and he tried to kiss her. Kissing, I will think, kissing. She refused. But then somehow he really got mad at her, so she ended up performing oral sex on him. There's no time in there. It's very elusive. It doesn't say what she refused to do. She refused the kissing and she refused the oral sex. Two different things. And why she didn't leave. Right? That's always the question. And where was Ashley Walters? Where was Ashley Walters, the assistant, when this was happening? She was in the other room going like, "Oh, this is so sad what's happening to my girlfriend, but I'm just not gonna say anything because I like the payroll. I like this job. I got free shows. I got free trips everywhere from all my friends. Hell no. I'm a woman, but I'm not gonna sympathize with this one. Let her be beat up and raped or whatever, but I like the paycheck." I think, Ashley, you are a piece of shit. Because if this actually happened, I don't think it did, but let's pretend it happened, she is as guilty as charged for being a witness and for enabling this. So let's hope that if he goes down, which he's not going to, she needs to go down too, because she was the person who was around when this was happening. That's what I say, the dates are super important. If you go, I'm going to just put the link on this couple of YouTube videos that TMZ drop. They are so funny, because Manson is very funny with the paparazzi. He's like just funny, like just, anyway. That you see Ashley full of anxiety, walking around smiling, opening the doors for Manson and the girlfriend at the time, whoever happened to be, driving them around. I mean, really, I don't see it. If she was doing that and then closed doors, she was enabling this behavior from her boss and letting him get away with it, she's as guilty as everybody else, I think. But allegedly this didn't happen. I don't think so, but if it did, she's guilty. Fuck. Because of this crying and all this forcible sex, which I will think it was loud. Because if you say no and it's forced, it's going to be loud. And Ashley Walters was there doing what? Like she was just doing a collage and taking stupid pictures, or what she was doing, posting stuff on Instagram. It's very, very weird, because Ashley Walters says on her filing that she was there 24/7. So she was there 24/7. Where was she when Jane Doe was being forcibly kissed or forcibly forced to perform oral sex? It's a very small apartment. I don't know. It's not a mansion. Where was she? Where was the assistant at? I was like, that's a big question for me. While she was crying, he held the back of her head and forced his penis into her mouth. Afterward, plaintiff cried herself to sleep. Yeah, sometimes we do that. Sometimes we cry so much that we fall asleep. Why in that moment? He probably was asleep, right? No. Maybe he was still awake. I don't know. But in that moment, he was not asleep. Maybe he was all messed up and passed out in drugs. Why didn't you just leave? Right? So you go back to his bed, lay next to him, and cry yourself to sleep. And plenty of resources. She had a phone on her. She never said that she got her phone taken away, like even Richard Wood says that. She never said that. So she got a phone. You know, there's plenty of posts from her on Instagram all over the place. You have a phone, you have Instagram on your phone, you got Facebook, you got message. You don't want to call somebody because it's too loud to call somebody for help. You can message somebody. Crying yourself to sleep was your choice to stay there and cry yourself to sleep. That's my opinion. Later, plaintiff went to return Warner's apartment key, so she wanted to give him the key back for the apartment. When he opened the door, he was wearing the pink. This is amazing, I'm sorry. He was wearing the pink kimono he had given her. Plaintiff remembered being in the hallway by his front door about to leave when Warner forcibly pushed her to the ground with her face down on the carpet and his hands on top of her, and then did that to her. R-A-P-E-D. Again, this loud stuff when there's a liquor store under, even if it's a shady liquor store, they're still human beings. I don't think they're going to be okay with people getting R-A-B-E-D up right above. Again, where were you? And then second of all, well, last off, you know, she could have just dropped the key on the mailbox or under the rug or whatever. She didn't have to give him the key if she knew that he was going to be so problematic about it. So I don't know why she even went there to give him the key. She could have mailed the key, you know, or send somebody else or give the key to Ashley. So I don't believe that actually happened either. It cracked me up, the idea of he was wearing the pink kimono. Remember my favorite movie of all times is Silence of the Lambs. I know. It's sick, right? But that movie has a lot to do with the career path that I chose in life because I wanted to be just like Clarice. I'm more of a, I don't know, Hannibal, I guess, which he's brilliant. But I'm talking about Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs when he has the robe and he's like dancing to the song Goodbye Horses, and he has a kimono on. I think this girl watched the movie too many times, and I think that she's gonna think that we're a bunch of idiots. I mean, I know she's a millennial, she's probably like 25 years old or something. We're a bunch of idiots that we don't know that she's referring to Silence of the Lambs right there, and she thinks we're dumb. Maybe Manson wore a kimono. He's not into, he wears a lot of makeup and stuff, but he's always like so, you know, like wearing, you know, masculine, especially during Bourne villain times, like just suits and, you know, leather suits. I don't see him wearing a kimono. Even if he wore the kimono as a joke because he was trying to mess with her mind, like, oh, see, you don't want this, I'm gonna wear it. I believe that part, that he was being a bit of a jerk wearing her kimono because she didn't want the kimono, and it was a way of like gaslighting her. Oh, I gave you this, you don't want to wear it, I wear it. But I think that's it. The rest after that, I don't think it happened. And then he did that to her. Okay, the unspeakable word, and said, "Don't you ever fucking make me do that again to you. Don't you ever fucking make me do that to you again." Sounds like out of a movie. That's how many times we watch movies, Quentin Tarantino movies, Scorsese movies, freaking violent as fuck movies, and something that usually the abusers or the rapist said is, "Don't make me do this to you again." And I heard that in movies, and I feel like Jane Doe watched too many movies because that is a line out of a movie right there. And it's the first time that she's paraphrasing him. Why? Why the only time that you paraphrase him in the whole filing is for that? So again, if the whole commotion and noise was happening, I think the people under the live under, even if it's Manson, even if they're kind of shady because it's a liquor store, they will have done something about it. There's no that. What type of people are just going to hear somebody getting RAPD and just be like, oh no, it's Marilyn Manson, we're not gonna see anything? Manson is not that powerful. Okay, we like him, as an artist. He's not, he's not royalty. He's not so powerful. He doesn't own like the FBI. He's not a mobster. He's not above the law. So if somebody heard all that commotion, they should have called somebody. I think it didn't happen, period. And if something funny happened like that, he was making fun of her wearing the kimono and all that, where was Ashley? Ashley said that in 2011 she was working there 24/7. Well, this is June 2011. Where were you, Ashley? Where? And if Ashley was around and this was happening to one of her friends and she didn't do nothing about it because of the payroll, I don't know who's worse, Seriously. All right, warning again, because this part is hard. One of the Ripley plaintiff names as he RAPD. He was saying that she had driven him crazy and she was making him to do this to her, like, you making me do this type of situation. Warner was wearing black jeans under the kimono, and plaintiff remembers seeing them around his ankles, and she looked back during the moment. Afterward, while standing in the doorway, he said to her, don't you ever fucking make me do that to you again. That is a line out of a movie. Warner then threatened to kill her. He also bragged that he will get away with it if he indeed murdered her or anybody else. This is something that Evan has said about Manson, and Esme Bianco also said on their testimony, that Manson said these things to people like, I can kill you and get away with it. Again, this is a copy and paste. I have to give it to her. This filing is a bit more interesting than the other ones, but it still has the copy and paste. I mean, but it has the kimono. It has a little more. But it does copy and paste right there. Esme Bianco said it. He's so powerful. He can get away with it. Evan said he has ties with gangs in LA, in Los Angeles. He can get away with killing people. Ashley Morgan said the same thing, that he told her, I can get away with it, with killing you and nobody's going to know. I think that's just a copy and paste of the whole thing over and over and over. So I don't think that he said that or he meant it. Because then again, we go from nature to nurture. I mean, what type of person he is, or the type of person that he was in the moment, or the type of person that he is with them is different than the type of person he is with the fans and the type of person he is with his band. So I think that maybe he was a little all over the place because he was drunk or whatever, but I don't think that he went as far to do this. And why? Why? It simply didn't happen. So anyway, plaintiff did not discover this. Okay, the discovery rule. Are we done with that? Okay, hold on. No. Oh, yeah, this part is painful to read this stuff because, I mean, as a woman, I'm like, I don't want this to happen to anybody or to myself or to me, anybody that I know. But I'm sure it happens, but I don't think that this is actually reality. But I know it's happening right now somewhere. So I keep giving warnings, but it's yeah, he was saying that she had driving crazy. Okay, you making me do this to you. Afterward was standing in the doorway. He said, don't you ever fucking make me do this to you again. Item 39. Warner then threatened to kill her and said that he can do it and get away with it. In the years after the RAPE, plaintiff frequently had to go to the doctor, gynecologist, yes, and was diagnosed with vaginitis, which it made it very painful for her to have intercourse or to even get dressed. This was a result of the time that she had with Warner. Plaintiff doctors repeatedly asked her if she had been sexually assaulted. Well, what did you say? What did you respond to that when your doctor asked you that? Because if this happened, that was your way out right freaking there to tell your doctor, guess what? Something happened to me and it was Marilyn Manson. We're going to get that guy down. You have all the sympathy from a lot of people, but you didn't do it. You didn't do it because it didn't happen. And what type of doctor, I mean, especially a gynecologist, but any type of medical doctor in the medical field, any type of doctor will see a woman with some type of problems in that location, and if the doctor thinks it's related to unspeakable acts, he will call a social worker. Even if you're not a minor, he will call somebody. He will not take a word for it. They will call somebody if they think they are doctors are mandatory reporters of things. Maybe you will say, oh, it's none of his business. If the doctor said, well, you look like you've been assaulted, if you say yes, you will have called somebody. So you either say no and refuse to help for the doctor, or this never happened and you didn't say anything, or the doctor didn't say anything. Or the third option, which is usually what I'm leaning more to, is that this happened to you, but it wasn't by him. Again and again, I keep saying that I do believe that Evan got abused and assaulted. I think it didn't happen with Manson, and I think this might be kind of the same situation. And if a doctor is telling you, hey, I got your back, have you been assaulted, and you're not using that opportunity to get help, then it's very unbelievable to me and to a lot of people. The discovery rule. Plaintiff did not discover the circumstances sufficient to put her on notice of her potential causes of action related to RAPE, as death threats, until February 2021. That magical month that everybody went on Instagram in February 2021 and got on him all over the place, right? After reading an article that detailed other acts of sexual assault committed by Warner to other girls, she previously had repressed these memories as a common for sexual assault victims. Yes, that is a common thing. You repress memories. You can repress memories from all the way to like 10 years old to now. The brain is beautiful like that. You can repress. You can even forget. But what she's trying to say is like, again, I will believe in a different situation, but I don't believe it from her. What she's trying to say is that she repressed it all the way from 2011 to 2021. She repressed it. She forgot about it. It was so messed up that she put it on the back of her head and didn't deal with it. We as humans do it all the time because the brain is a beautiful thing that does that. You can repress something for the rest of your life. It's fucked up, but we do it all the time. But okay, it's repressed. It's on the shelf in the back. It's on the back shelf on the brain, right? But then you see everybody on Instagram in 2021, and you go like, oh wait, it's not repressed anymore. Now I'm just gonna jump on this train. The brain doesn't work like that. Something has to have happened. Like you either meet up with him again, like on the street, and then you freaking the fuck out, and it triggers all this, and then you do this. I will believe it if she says something like that, of the sorts of, oh my God, I saw him coming at me after 10 years, and I felt it, the memories came again. Maybe, but her little meeting with Ilma Gore, which is the one that typed the email trying to recruit all the girls, happened in 2021. So that's what got her back to remembering all this, talking to the other girls. That is not how memory works. That's not how memory works, but okay. So she previously had repressed memories. Okay, to the extent that any plaintiff causes of action otherwise might have expired by the time this action was filed. The statute of limitations, good job, Evan, period for her causes of actions were told and therefore timely. So if Evan and Esme and everybody else that was there on that, Susan Rubio and all those people that were in Congress did not pass the law, not only Ashley Morgan, Ashley Walters, or Chloe Black would have a damn thing to say, because it happened 9 years ago. So it's very curious, you know what I mean? It is. Warner committed a sexual. Okay, well, the complaints. This is the result. Supposedly, what they're saying happened. They're saying it happened. Warner committed sexual assault. As defined in Civil Code section. I'm not gonna do all that. No numbers. Warner committed sexual assault with intent to commit crimes. Like, well, sexual assault is a crime, but with intent to commit pretty much murder, because he said to her supposedly, "I can kill you if I want to," and get away with it. That is just somebody saying something. That is not committing a murder, but okay. Warner action complaint of hearing were attempted to commit the crimes. She was stripped of her rights as a person because she was not able to sleep or to eat. That's the one thing that they all have in common, I guess. Plaintiff alleges and incorporates with the friends the allegations contained in this complaint is fully set forward. California Civil Code, blah blah blah. Because of Warner's powerful role in the industry, oh god, like he is powerful, okay, but he's not that big. Because of Warner's powerful role in the industry in which plaintiff worked, because it's Chloe Black, she needs to. The reason she didn't say her name and she put Jane Doe is really smart. Is so we suck it up. And we go like, see, she didn't put her name, so she's not asking for money or for recognition. Otherwise, she would have put her name. Exactly. She got you. She didn't put her name, so we think that it's a good thing that she didn't put her name. But if you go on the dates and you see who was hanging out with him in those videos, the paparazzi videos I'm talking about, and all the hints of her being from a different country and being a singer and being blonde, it is the person I'm talking about. But okay, she didn't put her name there because she wanted to be taken more serious. But it's a game. It's really a game. And some people are swallowing it. Some people are falling for it. They go like, well, Evan and Esme are liars, but this girl, the last girl, well, she didn't put her name there, so she must be for reals. No, I'm telling you, it's a trick. It's a good one, actually. I gotta give it to these people. This one is probably it's a bunch of nonsense, but it's quite, it's better constructed than the other last two, but it's still so much BS. Because she worked at, okay, sorry. She was inspired to be part of the industry, the music industry. She felt pressure to do what Warner was saying to do and follow his demands. And Warner knew that she felt that pressure. So he knew that she could have not say no. So he kept doing these illegal things to her. Or she could have said no. And then again, where was Ashley? And where were everybody else? Did you ever, like, when you hear me or anybody else talking about these cases, don't you wonder where are the other people at? Like, he has plenty of friends, like male friends. No, I'm not talking about Johnny Depp. I'm talking about all the other ones. Why nobody else is, like, you're gonna make me believe that Manson is there with these women going in and out of the apartment, no males, no buddies, no friends, no band members, no housekeepers, no nothing. Just him and all those girls all the time. I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I believe that he has a few buddies and he actually has good friendships. And we're not gonna put Johnny Depp on this because it's Johnny Depp is really big. So let's say he didn't invite Johnny Depp over when he was with his girlfriend. But I'm sure all the people were invited over. Where are all those people at? Why they're not talking? Why they're not saying, hey, yes, I was in that apartment and he was wearing a kimono and he was screaming at her. Are they hiding somewhere? No, they don't exist. They don't. I don't think they do. Okay, we're done. Okay, so what is she asking for? Oh, causes of action: sexual battery. Defendant acted with intent to cause harmful or offensive contact with an intimate part of the body and sexually offensive contact. Okay, defendant also with intent to cause harmful or offensive contact. As a result of the defendant act, plaintiff suffer harm, emotional distress, and sickness, which they're referring at when she went to the gynecologist, to the doctor, and she was diagnosed with something related to something that you could have when you are being sexually assaulted. That is the one thing, man, that if she's putting doctors in there, and she needs to think about it, because when she start putting doctors, I mean, it doesn't say the doctor's name, but it says that a doctor saw her and was like, oh my god, that looks like sexual assault, and the doctor didn't call a social worker or her parents or her friends or anybody. The doctor just say, hey, that looks like sexual assault, but okay, see you in a month. No. But let's say that happened. We need to see the doctors. We need to see the doctor filing, like something, some type of notification, some type of something from some type of doctor or receptionist or anything saying, yes, she came here that day and it looked pretty bad. And that is not going to prove that he did it. But it kind of will move the wheels in my head and a lot of people's head and be like, okay, well, maybe this is not as black and white. But until I see the doctors, until I see the pictures of Esme and the bruises, and until I see the pictures of Ashley Morgan and her cuts all over, all these doctors that we're talking about, these are all, they're ghosts. They're things that don't even exist, and they exist. They're like hidden really, really well. And I wonder when are they gonna come out. If you see a doctor and a doctor says you might have this as a result of sexual abuse, sexual assault, yeah, he's not gonna let you go. He's gonna call somebody, and he's gonna be willing to testify if this was your doctor and if this actually happened to you by this person. So a bunch of BS, well constructed BS this time. I feel like this one is probably like, man, it's not so annoying to read like the other ones. Oh gosh, the Ashley Morgan. I don't know how. I mean, just reading that and watching her interview with People's Magazines was like so painful. This it is too, but anyway, humiliation, inconvenience, suffered, likely to be suffered in the future. Punitive damages, again, money. Attorney fees, of course, because you don't want to pay your own attorney. You want him to pay your own lawyers. Awarded pre and post judgment interest at the highest lawful rate. I don't know what that means. I really don't know what that means. Sorry. Awardable relief and law equity to which plaintiff entitled. So pretty much it says that she can ask for whatever she wants, before and after. That's quite interesting. Like they're not putting a number on it. It's pretty much she can ask whatever, for whatever. It's not been determined yet. But it can be $10,000 to $5 million. Because how can you put a price on emotional distress? How can you? You can just, it's so out there. This is so far-fetched that if they say $5 million, I won't be surprised. Seriously. So she's asking for a trial by jury. That's like the one thing don't feel so good about, because we know what people think of him usually. And a trial by jury, even if it's in California, even if it's in LA, I think people are going to be biased because they know who Marilyn Manson is. Not in the bad way. I'm saying who is he as a persona, and outrageous, and the type of art he makes and how he looks like, which I think is good, but some people will just judge him just on that. So if this goes to court, this is not court. I mean, this is filing in court, okay? But this is there's no hearing date. Until I see a date, that means he's not going to court. So him being cross-examined by a judge, I think that'll be good. Him being with like 12, 13 people in a jury, I don't know. I don't feel good about that. And I'm not because he's not innocent. I think he is. It's because sometimes that doesn't work very well with certain type of people. The people can be judgmental against him for the reasons that they were before, since the 90s, because he's been space goated before for things that he didn't do. So I don't think this is any. I mean, when it comes to it, I think that was worse. Columbine was worse, and he dealt with it. Again, trial by jury might not be a good idea, but eventually I hope he does something. We all hoping the same thing. And that was it. That was Jane Doe, Chloe Black. She blocked me, and I don't know why she blocked me. I think she's blocking people on the list that I never hashtag. My Instagram is like my family. It's like my children and I. I don't have an Instagram supporting Manson, but I do follow a bunch of people that support Manson. So I don't know, but I think a lot of us got blocked because we're telling the truth. So, was it Oscar Wilde that said that when you're gaining enemies, you know you're doing something right. You know, and this is not about money. This is about kind of talking about it to open the conversation about that this happens to men all the time. The other way around, that they got sexually assaulted as well, or that they get thrown under the bus for things they didn't do. Because thanks to Evan and Esme Bianco, now we have a statute of limitations of 10 years. They went from 3 to 8 to 10. So, of course, makes sense, huh? Makes sense that now all that is out there. That all this stuff happened in 2000, from 2010 to 2011-ish. Again, I don't think people, even somebody who is sick in the head, I don't think people are one thing and then they are something completely different for 2 years and then they go back to be the other thing. I said it before, and I know that Rose McGowan made that video. I know, if you know me, you know that I like Rose McGowan, and I'm always looking that way because her book is always on my table. And I do think that she was pressured to make that video. And I don't think that she supports Evan. I think she's had to say it. And you guys know what I'm talking about. The agenda is powerful. And I can say she's a coward. I can say that was shady, whatever. The same with Dita Von Teese when she put a statement on her Instagram and then she had to delete it. I mean, if it was me, I can say, oh, if it was me, I won't ever delete it. Well, you don't know. You don't know the type of pressure that the industry can just put on you. If you want to be like the one person who defends this monster. It's not about defending. It's like, if this didn't happen when they were with him, and those two, Rose and Dita, are his longest relationships, and the ones that he married and wanted to marry Rose and he didn't, and married Dita. Even he's friends with her to this day. There's pictures of Manson with his current wife Lindsay from like 2 years ago, and there are with Dita and her boyfriend in a party and like hugging. I think it's great. I don't think that he is this impossible to deal with monster. Okay, the whole thing with the sex, about him sleeping and waking up and asking her for sex and then going back to sleep, that threw me off. That's laughable. There's a lot of stuff, but on this fighting, I just keep thinking, where was Ashley Walters? Where was the assistant? She said that she was working there 24/7. Well, in all this, day and night, the Jane Doe was there, suffering emotional distress, suffering physical harm. Where was she? Just because she didn't want to lose the job and the connections, she didn't say do anything? I find that, I hope that she has a good explanation for that. I don't know if anybody touched on that on YouTube before, but I talk to people all the time on Instagram and they all go like, where was everybody else? He never had anybody coming in to clean the apartment. He never had any male friends coming to hang out. Where was everybody? It's just, and so when they hang out, he just went to sleep, and he was sleeping, he was having sex with the girlfriend in question, and other people were there hanging out. It's not even saying they were alone all the time, but it mentions Ashley way too much. The whole thing about Ashley saying to Jane Doe, well, just put a smile on your face in karaoke. Oh my God, it's like out of a movie. It's not like he said, well, strip for me, take off your clothes and dance and act like you like it. No, They're talking about that he forced him to karaoke. My eyes is getting, when my eyes getting this big. I mean, the amount of bullshit. Anyway, I'm done with that one. Oof. It took me like what, 3 videos to read this whole thing. And by the time I post this, I'm going to have another one on Evan. I'm going to go back to Evan because I found a couple of interviews that one of my people here sent me a link, and oh my gosh, it's an interview from 2008, I would say, that they are in some art gallery in Europe, and Evan is right there with him, and she's been nice, he's been nice, she's not being bitchy or anything, she's been wonderful, he's been wonderful. He talks about her and True Blood, and makes a couple of jokes about how good of an actress she is, and he's like, well, no, I'm not as good as he is, he's a great artist. And I'm showing these interviews. I might have to put, I can't really show them to you, I can just like, we can share the sound of it, and you can be like, what is that? And okay, you can say she was being groomed. I hate that term. She was being brainwashed. She was not isolated. She was in an art gallery in Greece, okay, and all over the globe. They were traveling all over the globe because he was traveling with his paintings. I remember that time. Then he wasn't doing it was between those 2 albums, and she wasn't doing any movies. She was working, she did True Blood, like 5 episodes or whatever, with a piece of cake, and then she was traveling the world with him, going to different art galleries and stuff, and staying in hotels, and I don't know what type of isolation that is. It seems like really cool isolation to me. Just stay in cool hotels and just around Germany and France. Anyway, so I'm going back for you, Evan, but I'm going to stop here and just post this later. Thank you for watching, and keep it real, keep it safe, and talk to people about this, and about how this can be happening to you. And I'm talking about women or men. So just be careful, and just don't judge people. Don't judge people by their makeup or their hair, or it's like, oh, I might be the real deal because I'm not wearing black today. I'm wearing light pink, which is crazy. So my skin is itchy. I'm joking. I mean, I can be a goth and I can wear pink, and I should not be judged. Or whatever I happen to be. I don't even think of it. Anything. Judging people. People go to jail all the time. Like the case, well, if it's not my favorite case on criminology, is the case of the West Memphis 3. The West Memphis 3 were 3 kids because they were kids, teenagers. They went to jail for something they didn't do for 18 to 20 years of their life. Their life is completely, they're out now, they're free, but their youth is destroyed, and they were there for something that they didn't do. And because, I wonder why, they were wearing Metallica t-shirts. They have black nail polish, Metallica t-shirts, and black nail polish, and a couple of books on witchcraft and paganism, in jail for 18 years. Okay, this is like the extreme. That case is the extreme. The West Memphis 3, check it out. It's my favorite case. It's probably the case that got me to do a lot of things that I do, because I wonder how many people are in that situation. And that was a witch hunt. Witch hunt is a good term to describe this, and it doesn't have to happen to women, just because the witch hunt happened to women. But we use it now as this times for something like this, with the West Memphis 3, or people that are in jail for 20 years for things that they didn't do because they were judged because the way they look, or because they were homeless, or because they were drug addicts, and now we found out because of DNA that you didn't do this, or you're free to go. So judging people by their lifestyle is something that has been very dangerous. As many people will think that California, America in general, but the West Coast is very liberal, it's very open. Why I tell you no? I wish. There's a lot of things here that are very backwards. We celebrate people being individuals and having green hair and having piercings and tattoos, but at the same time, if you go to the courthouse, you see people looking down on people when they look different. So it's still around. We're not completely. I'm talking about that satanic panic. So the satanic panic that was happening in the 90s, it was responsible for the incarceration of these three innocent teenagers that I was talking about. And it was also the same people that were blaming Manson for Columbine, blaming a singer, a rock singer, for kids being shot in his school. It is so pathetic, and it's so lame that they did that to him. So, he went through that. He's going to go through this one again. I think that certain people have certain, I won't say karma, but certain, there's a path that for some reason life keeps throwing at this guy, and at Johnny Depp as well. I think in the future, maybe in a couple years, hopefully, not only we're going to see him and Cancel and going back to work again, hopefully, and Johnny and everybody, but also these women need to go somewhere. And I don't know if they're going to be arrested, probably not, because it's hard. You don't want to, the jails are overcrowded here, so you're not going to put somebody in jail for defamation. Maybe they are, I don't think so, but they need to be held accountable for these lies, for going to publication like People's, Rolling Stones or whatever, and giving fake pictures, for posting fake pictures and dragging this guy through the mud. There has to be some ramifications for it, some type of punishment, and I don't know what it is. I should look that up before I open my mouth, but I think every state is different, and I don't think when people go like Amber Heard is going to jail, no, she's not. Okay, I mean, like, I wish, but I don't think it's not that simple. But being the charge of fine the crap out of it and empty your bank account, that's worse than jail for somebody like Amber Heard or for somebody like Ava Rachel Wood. They care about money, and they care about attention, and they care about the public persona so much that I think that embarrassment in the public probably is worse than jail. So that's what I wish. I wish for this to be over with, and the doctors, the assistants, the people that live in the liquor store under him, they will come out and say something, that it will just support some of this. If they don't, then it's going to be really hard to support. Oh, well, I was here and I was crying, and he told me to do sex, and I did the sex while I was crying. Some people are into that. I don't know. Like, how did she's going to prove that she was crying during the sex? And how did he's going to prove that she didn't? That's the problem right there. It's always been the problem. I hope that he has some type of videos or pictures or messages from her, acting like a nut job, and maybe asking him, where were you, maybe being jealous of him, something that it will kind of clear his name and his attitude a little bit, because at this point everything is bad, and he's this monster, throws glasses at people and force them to do karaoke. I just don't think life is that simple. There's things that I do believe that they might happen to these women, and that's horrible if they did, but I don't think it was him. I think they're being pointed at him, they're being put on him because he is Manson. I'm still waiting on Evan to tell us who the second abuser is, and why would I say his name? Oh wait, because that guy has no money and no name. Little Johnny Baloney that owns a bar on Sunset Boulevard, he's a nobody. We're not going to name him. We're not getting anything, right? We're not winning anything by using his name. And I think that's pretty shitty what she's doing, because there is somebody there that did that to her, and she's not protecting other people. The whole like, I'm just doing this for the girls and for the LGBT community. Okay, well, for the girls and for the LGBT community, they're going to get assaulted again every time they go to that bar on Sunset Boulevard if you don't say who did it. Because I'm pretty sure the guy is still there. Maybe not. but naming him doesn't give you press. That's what it is. All right, I'm gonna go eat. Thank you so much, and make comments. I'm sure this was. It's only all over the place when I talk. I want to finish reading it, but it was really the pink kimono reminds me of Silence of the Lambs, of Buffalo Bill wearing the kimono and dancing, and I just imagine Manson doing the same thing. And oh my God, it's like at the same time it's like funny and cool and not cool. I don't think a lot of this happened. I don't think none of it happened. So but I'm open to change my mind. Not going to, but I'm open to talk about it. So you can make me a comment or send me a message or whatever, and we can chat. Thank you so much for watching and for everything. Bye.